In this lesson, we'll walk through the process of creating a group in Office 365. We'll also assign rights to a group and remove that group. So we'll look at it now. Bear in mind that as we get started, this builds on the concepts that we introduced in the first lesson of this section, where we went through the different kinds of groups that you may encounter in Office 365. If you are focusing on the 346 test, I would put most of your attention towards the security groups. So we'll start in the admin center. I'm logged in as a global admin. And then, of course, in my navigation section here, I will expand the groups node and I see a groups link here, and that will get me to this groups page. Now, to add a group, of course, all I have to do is add a group, click on that button. There's some other different buttons you can click on down here and some reference information for you to browse at your leisure. So we'll just add a group, and it brings me to this new group dialog box. Now, the type of group is a very significant choice that you have. And again, I discussed this in the first lesson of this section. So if I click this drop down, it tells me briefly about the different kinds that are available to me, the differences between an Office 365 group, distribution list, security group, and so on. So the option that you select here will dictate what kinds of choices are available down here. So for example, if I set up a billing group and it's an Office 365 group, then it has an ID. It will have an email address where everybody in the group will have a single email address that can be used to email everyone within the group. But I want to focus mostly on security groups because those are used for security purposes. So I can still use the same name, billing, here. I just don't get all the email options that I did when I set up an Office 365 group. So this is just an administrative entity that I am creating. So I add the group was added, the group is ready to use, and that's really it. So the group is not populated with anybody right now, it's just set up, and you can see that this is a security group. Now, if I click on the group itself, now I should be able to edit its membership. So now I can add members, and if I click on add members, again, this is pretty straightforward stuff. So I'll select Ben and Chris and click on save, and now click on close, and now I've got two groups who are part of this group membership. Now, to actually use that security group, I will first close this, and I'll go over here to my Office tiles, and I will click on OneDrive. And here's a list of all the files that are stored in David Atchison's OneDrive storage. So I can click this document just to give you an idea of how you can use a security group. I can choose it and then click on sharing only to you, but I give that a click. It opens up this sharing dialog box, and then I can invite people. So imagine if there were 20 people whom I wanted to share that document out with. I could just type in the name of the group. So I start typing billing, they appear there, and then I click on share, require sign in, send an email invitation. These are up to you whether or not they will be notified when you share out the document. Notice that send an email invitation is something that is required to notify them that you have shared a document. So in any event, that's one of the ways you would leverage a group within your Office 365 tenant. Now, I will close this and go back to the admin center. And once I'm here, I'll go back to groups, click on groups once again. And now I can take the billing group and I can delete the group if I no longer need it. And then the group is deleted, and then I close. Does that affect the users who were part of that group in any way? Absolutely not. There's Ben, there's Chris. They were members of the group, but their user accounts are, of course, still intact. So that's how you do some group administration through the admin center. Just keep in mind that the process for creating a group that is not a security group is going to look almost exactly the same. You're going to give the group, even if it's a distribution list, you'll give it a name, an email. The only difference really is the shared mailbox has its own little tab here where you can set up a shared mailbox, and then the explanation of what that is. occurs down here at the bottom of the page. Need an address like support.contoso.com. So again, what I went through in that first lesson, it's reflected here in some of the button clicking.